Good morning, Gilbert. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Ara. Yeah, I'm fine. Nice to be talking to you. So,
well, congratulations on this album, Driven. There's a feeling about it that, I mean, when you listen to it, you're going, oh my God, this guy you are just endless with your creativity.
Well, I try. I like, I love the process of songwriting, and then you get to make a record, and then you're happy with that.
What is it like for you to go from that process of putting pen to paper and then all of a sudden these musical notes? Because it can't be an easy journey to make that transition from your imagination to those musical instruments.
Well, that's the love of songwriting. The point is that, the way I work, I have that kind of brill bending mentality. I'll sit for 5 days a week, 9 to 5, try and come up with a melody. A good melody then can determine pretty much how you're going to approach the lyric. It might be melody can kind of determine what area you'll take in terms of what the lyric will be. So each process is fascinating, and I haven't lost the love of the songwriting, which of course is the whole key to everything I do.
Well, you can see that in the song Blue Anchor Bay, because I mean you're definitely, it's like you've got a paintbrush in your hand.
Well, that's interesting enough. Blue Anchor Bay is one of the few songs based on a real experience, because most of my songs are based on fiction and an understanding of a subject. But Blue Anchor Bay was actually when I was an art student in '63. A couple of years into my course, the teachers decided that we would all go to the seaside for the day. And in the early '60s, a trip to the seaside was a big deal. Mm-hmm. There was no sort of short, sort of cheap flights to Spain or wherever. So we had a great time. So that day is part of the background to Blue Anchor Bay.
To gain success in the UK and the United States, not everybody can say that. I mean, I can't imagine what was moving through your imagination as things were really starting to build.
Well, I mean, it's to start with, I mean, I wanted to be successful, but I didn't really see it beyond England, which is where I was living, maybe into Europe. But certainly I had no thought that we could possibly be successful in America. So that's one of the amazing things that happens in a career, where you can be successful, not just in your home country, but also as far wide as America, Japan. It's amazing.
You bring up an interesting country, Japan. I mean, I've just heard that Japan, I mean, they not only embrace music, it's almost like it's such a major part of their lifestyle. And the reason why I bring that up is because my wife's ex-husband is a record producer, and his success in Japan is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, and it's interesting in Japan because they really like the lyrics and stuff. Because I think a lot of them get their English from listening to lyrics and stuff. And we've had a really interesting time that we had a massive big record some years back called Tomorrow Today, which was taken from one of my albums. It was kind of number one in Japan for about 9 weeks and stuff. But no, we went there. We were there last year for concert, and we go back again, I think, in August, September time. No, it's been really interesting to go. I mean, it's a lovely country and nice people.
I would love to be a fly on the wall as you travel the United States on this new tour on the East Coast, because I mean, I would love to see your audience and to see how the younger generation, it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter what year it comes from. The younger generation, they call it their music. And I just love that they embrace it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's for us, when we tour and stuff, that there is something really interesting about who's out there. So we get that mix. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche to say that, but it's true. There's young and there's old. There's young who are interested maybe by their parents dragging them along to the show. But on the other hand, when I meet them afterwards, they'll tell me they're getting into my music. And with social media, that's also an access where younger people get to hear your music, get to look into you. So.
Well, to me, it's like that's the Tower Records of this generation, or the music land, because I mean, I wish I would have had that music access when I was a kid, but no, I had to get on my bike and go to a mall.
And I think what's good too for young artists and stuff, the difficulty in the old days was if you wrote a song and wanted to try and get a deal, you'd send tapes to record companies. Yeah. Whereas today, what you can do is if you're a girl or a boy and you play guitar or piano and you've written a song, you can go in your bedroom or the lounge, record it and put it up on YouTube. And it can be seen by masses of people, because a lot of people tune into these kind of programs to come across people who create. So as you know, Tom Jones and Gilbert Humperdinck, very suave figures and stuff. And here I was in a Charlie Chaplin jacket with a cap and boots and I put him in. And so I think his secretary said he threw the photograph out in the bin because he thought it was a joke. But as an ex-songwriter, he was kind of curious about the 4 songs on the tape. So when he heard the songs, he became interested in stuff. And that's what led to me going to meet him. When I met with him, then he needed to know that I'd written more than the 4 that were on the tape. So I got off to a really good start, and Gordon produced my records and stuff. So he was an important factor in the success of my career.
As that songwriter, did you play by the rules? In radio, it was like if you don't get to the hook of the song in 25 seconds, it was going into file 13. I mean, did you play by those rules? It's like, I got to get to that hook. I got to get to that hook.
No. It's a dangerous area to go in.
Yeah.
Analysis, how, what, or why. Just do it. It isn't rocket science. You sit down at the piano, you come up with a melody, and then if you need to finish the song, you sit down with an empty notebook and come up with a lyric. That's all it takes and stuff. There's no analysis about, could this be the hit? Do I need to do this to do that? No, I just write the way I've always written. I try to be interesting in the verses. I like going in mid-eights. I like to go off on a tangent and then the difficulty of getting back. But that's also the fun aspect of writing. Because if you're sitting there for hours every day and you're sitting there for 4 weeks a month coming up with songs or trying to come up with songs, it's good that you have ways and means that amuse you. And so you're searching for ideas. You've got a good melody, but you need a middle section. And then you'll work on that. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Doesn't that require creative trust? Because you've got to be, because I mean, you're emptying your soul in order to fulfill our imaginations. I mean, it's like you're taking from yourself to give to us.
Yeah, but I don't look on it that way, Aaron. I mean, it's just a song. At the end of the day, they're only songs, but they can mean a lot to an awful lot of people. Mm-hmm. They mean a lot to me when I write them, because I've been doing it since I was around 15. I love the art of songwriting. It's the whole reason why I'm talking to people like yourself and Michael here. Yeah. And that's the fascinating thing. It's if you have that love of what you're looking for. And, also, technology is fantastic today. And I have a purpose-built studio on the grounds of my property, which is a 48-track SSL desk, live room. I don't write in there. It's used for recording. The last album before the current album was recorded there. But I write just in a room with the piano, just upstairs in the house and stuff. So that's all I need. I use cassette still. I don't use the digital device. I think I heard that Diane Warren also uses.
What do you do? Hit Amazon to get cassettes these days? I mean, there's who's selling cassettes.
There's an element of that. We have to go online to find them and stuff. And likewise with the recorders that I use in the 70s the ghetto blasters you had in the 70s had inbuilt microphones on either side. So that's what I have, 5 or 6 of them. I'm trying to buy as many as I can. I place that on top of the piano, put in the cassette, and I'm off. The ghetto blasters you get today don't have the inbuilt microphones. Yeah. They're big, they're loud. So for me, it's important to have the ones that have that inbuilt microphone, and then I'm off.
Man, I laugh about the cassettes because right here in this studio to my left, I've got 3 cassette players. I thought I was being just a weird person because I happen to love the sound of a cassette.
Well, that's the one thing I will say, that's not the best thing. The sound is not great, but I've always maintained that the demos, the tapes that I send people of song, if I send them to a record company person, I don't mind if it doesn't sound great. Because what matters is the song itself. And so even if the sound isn't great, the tape Gordon Mills got was recorded in a garden shed. So, if it's a good song, it'll sneak through.
I love that because, when I was a kid, I mean, you said you went to the garden shed. I would go out to the hen house and I would grab a garden hose and I would sing into the garden hose because there was just enough delay for you to create your own reverb. I love being out there in the outdoors in these buildings.
Well, for me as a youngster, as a teenager, to have the piano in the garden shed was great. But we lived in a row of houses, terraced houses. So either side of our house were several other houses. Now, on a weekend, I would go out during the day to play and sing, sounding like Bob Dylan, singing my song. And the neighbors, they must have thought, what the hell is going on? But for all the time that I was doing that, not once did they ever complain, because it must have sounded like an idiot. I'm just singing Masters of War by Bob Dylan as top of my voice and stuff. But they never complained. I've always thought that was, in retrospect, fantastic.
So when you came in contact with the song Nothing Planned, I mean, this was the song that really opened the door for you. I mean, I just can't imagine how when you got word that it was on top of the charts, that it's like, oh, now you have to live up to everything that's been going on.
You mean, are you talking about Nothing Rhymed?
Yes.
Yeah. No, nothing right. I mean, that's the first success in England and stuff, but it was, I mean, it wasn't an instantly commercial song for many people. It took quite a long time to break. But again, I mean, I was happy with the song. That for me was a success. The recording of it was the first time in a studio where I sang live with a guitarist, bass player, and just myself on piano. I loved that recording session. When I left the studio, I was in seventh heaven. So that was long before it was released and long before anybody would have any idea if it would be a success. When it was a success, great relief at the record company, but I was really happy. And then, the career is taking off.
You bring up a very good point about the studio sessions and things, and the reason why I bring that up is because even when I've been in the studio, it's like that is your soundtrack. Those days and those months of creating music, and so like other people are listening to music and they have their memories. It's like in our time period, we go, well, this is what I was doing in the studio at the time. This is how we were dropping tracks. This was the musician that was in there. What is that like for you in the way that you it's like your reality is yours in a way that we don't get to experience?
Well, I think the album Driven, it kind of surmises everything in that respect, because I meet the musicians in the studio for the first time. I allow the producer to pick the musicians, and so I meet them for the first time. Say it's a Monday in the studio. We shake hands. I sit down at the piano and I play the first song to them, lyrically completed, everything. They go back to their chairs. We rehearse it a few times. The light comes on, and we take it. Over 5 days, we did 14 tracks, and that in itself is there's a joy in that, because it's live. It's almost a live recording, not quite, but it's almost. And the good thing with the fact of very little overdubbing, because you have two guitar players, so one guitar can be doing the solo, and the other one can be maintaining the rhythm, and it was absolute joy, and that's. That's what comes out of the songs I've written, the result of having what you think is a really good record.
Well, see, that to me is the way that music should be, because it shouldn't be overdone. And play it again, try number 29, let's do this. Because to me, that's why the music of the 50s and 60s is still so vibrant, is because you only had so much time, and they had to get it in there and play like they were live.
Well, in the 70s, you had 3 hours to do 2 songs, an A-side and a B-side. That's pretty much how my first album was put together.
Wow.
But today, as I say, with Driven, as in the album before that, it's all done live in the studio and stuff. But it isn't meant to be a live album. It's just recorded that way. Yeah. The producer and the engineer will make sure that the sound is really good. But the joy of doing it, I mean, if we're using drum machines, arguably if you're using drum machines on tracks, of course you can spend days doing that. So I don't want to get into that area. I just like the idea of performing it, getting it over with quickly. And 2 or 3 takes is enough. There's that lovely story, isn't there, where Burt Bacharach, God rest his soul, who passed away last week, when he recorded Alfie with the English singer Cilla Black, he made her sing it about 21 times.
Yep.
And George Martin was there, and he kept tapping Bert's shoulders, and I think we got it on 4, Bert. But that's the way it kind of was back in those days, and so we don't go that area anymore. I mean, the idea of singing something 21 times or 30 times to get what they think is right, no.
yeah, because I got vocal burn, and so I mean, once you get vocal burn in a studio, that's it. Close up shop. We're all going home.
Yes. But my admiration for Cilla Black, how she handled that with a live orchestra and stuff, I think is fantastic. He just wanted perfection after perfection after perfection.
Yep.
I guess that was the way he operated and stuff. But no, I mean, the don't take too long. That's the key. Don't spend too long on one song. If you do, maybe it's not right.
Yeah. So creating with KT Tunstall, oh my God, that had to have been a special treat.
Yeah, when the track, we recorded the track and it felt really good about it. And I spoke to my producer, Andy. I said, look, this would be good for a duet. And then we started thinking about who we might approach. And I remembered Katie with a track she had a few years earlier, a big success with a song called Suddenly I See. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was in the kind of same feel that we were heading with Take Love. So we approached her. She's based in Los Angeles, Scottish, but she lives now in California. And she loved the song, and we sent her the track and said, sing what you want. We sent it back, really happy with it. And the nice thing was, some weeks later, she came to England, and we did a video together and stuff. So that was nice because I hadn't done a video in 30 years.
So do you become a student in a process like that? Because I mean, because of her experiences with music and your experiences, I mean, I just can't just to go through that when you've got two magical people with their words and with their harmonies, and they're coming together as one.
Well, it's probably tougher for Katie because she was miming to the record. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. So
she wasn't playing the guitar, but she was. But to all intents and purposes, if you saw the video, you'd swear that was her playing. Yeah. So she had the guitar because she need to. That's how she likes to sing when she's got the guitar around her shoulder. So she handled that really well. But I So so we were miming. That's how that's all videos are mimed, aren't they? Very few are ever live. But it was a great day. We had a really nice time, and she's a lovely person. She's very talented. So a really nice time.
On this new tour, you're going to be going through some very musical cities: Atlanta, New York, Nashville. Do you get to go out and explore and sit with other local musicians and learn from their crafts?
Not really, Aaron, because there isn't the time. It's pretty quick stop. We don't really get to see that much outside of a rehearsal. I mean, it's usually the day off before the show. If we get the chance, we might be able to. We did go out last year a few times, just up and down the local area, but nothing, not enough for us to really spend time taking it all in.
Has that stage changed?
What, that stage of?
The stage in the way that, I mean, because I mean, you've been recording music for decades, but has that stage changed? When you go into Atlanta or you go into Boston, I mean, I can't imagine how, or is it still the same stage, just different people?
You mean for us on the stage performing?
Yes, absolutely. From your view out to us.
Yeah. We do a 2-hour concert and stuff, but it's very up close and personal, about intimates. In the sense that it's just myself and my guitar player. And we cover all the best known songs, album tracks that people often request, and then a sample of the new material. So it's worked out really well. People like the quietness of it. Yep. Because, I mean, I have a really good band also. But sometimes you get criticism with the band because people would say, well, we can't hear the words and we'd like to. So this way, what we're doing at the moment is working out really well because people are enjoying the intimacy of it all. And I'm enjoying it, and Bill, my guitar player, Bill Shanley, my guitar player. In the past, he's worked with Ray Davis. Ray Davis always wanted Bill as a sideman for him, so he's a great guitar player. So I'm really lucky to have him.
You bring up a good point about having that where it's you and the guitar, because I mean, until MTV did their Unplugged series, you're right, the music in the background got in the way of the lyrics. I didn't start listening to the lyrics until they started just playing guitars.
Yeah, I mean, of course. We the Eric Clapton's version of I forgot the title now, but yeah, hearing those songs in that quieter, lighter, softer, worked really well. I really enjoyed that. So it's a little like that with us, as I say, because as I say, with just guitar. Bill will also do harmonies with me. I'm on the keyboard. But it's sounding pretty good, and people are enjoying it, which is the most important thing. Yeah.
The song "Let Me Know." This is one of those where I keep hitting repeat, because it's almost like I want to like be more than just a listener when I hear this song.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I mean, I was happy with it. It's as a songwriter, when you're trying to write songs, you come up with rockier things, slower stuff. You don't want to be writing the same kind of style all the time. So you can blues it, you can rock it up, you can lower it down. So Let Me Know is just an enjoyable song to sing. And I'm really glad you like it.
Well, you can definitely feel it. Gilbert, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Aaron, it's been nice talking to you. What can I say?
Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
Thank you.